past couple months. But I got a couple great ones on this list. A couple newer movies, like Bring Her Back and Bugonia. And let's just jump straight into it. And in fact, let's stop with, did I call it I think it's Bugonia. Bugonia. In fact, why do they call it that now that I think about it? Why is it called Bugonia? I don't know what that means. I don't think they reference that at all in the movie. Which is kind of refreshing to see, honestly. I hate when movies, like, will drop the title, you know what I mean? It just gets old, it gets annoying. But anyways, Bugonia was a very, very interesting movie. It was pretty strange at times. I liked it a lot. It was slow. It was pretty slow, which, if y'all have watched any of my other stuff, that is like my number one complaint. I'm just such a bitch when it comes to that sort of stuff. But pacing is really important to me. You gotta go quick, but you can't go too quick. I don't know. I feel like Challengers went pretty quick and I loved that movie, so maybe you just have to go quick. That's not true, because I loved Cure, and Cure goes like so slow, it's insane. It's like a snail race. But anyways, Bugonia, was it super good? It was really good. I don't think it was super good, but the acting, I'd say my favorite parts of Bugonia was probably number one, the acting. The acting was phenomenal. It was so good. They picked some fantastic people. It's a very small cast. There's only like 3 people pretty much for most of the movie. But they all did such a good job. Emma Stone did insane. So the acting, I definitely think, was up there. I liked the soundtrack. And I just thought it was kind of fun. It was a fun movie. It was strange. I really liked the characters, specifically kind of, I don't know what you would call him, the main character in it. I believe he's played by, what's his name, Jesse Plemons or something like that. But I loved his character. I loved the dialogue in the movie is really good, and I think the reason for why people do things in the movie is also really good, because it was clear this character, I think his name is Teddy, is very much, I just related with him too much. I related him with him way too much, even though he's obviously super mentally ill and suffering through a lot of different stuff, but I just related with him so much. I really liked the theme of it and why he was doing a lot of stuff and why he felt the way he did. I just think it's relatable for a lot of people right now. And I do think it's why a lot of people go through these, get so deep into these, conspiracy theories, specifically because stuff is so bad right now, and it's been bad for a while. And a lot of times it just doesn't really feel like it's going to get better. And I think there is a darkness within society that's very easy to kind of sink into and fall into, and you want someone to blame, you want something easy to blame, and I think a lot of people weaponize, a lot of people try to pit us against each other, you know what I mean? it's always just the people in control. So I really liked a lot of the themes of it. I thought it was silly at times and intense at other times. It's a strange, it feels like an indie movie. It really feels like an indie movie, which I liked a lot. But yeah, that's Bugonia. I gave it like, I think like 8 out of 10 is probably what I'd give it. I'll probably watch it again sometime soon. Because there's one specific person I think who will really like it, so I want to watch it with them. But we'll see how I feel on the second watch through. Also, I'm kind of sick right now, so sorry if I have any weird noises that I make. I'm like very scared of like making a lot of gross nasally noises. Anyways, so Bugonia, I watched, and then like I just watched that like last night too. I'm kind of going in opposite order than I normally do, but and then the other movie I watched was Prey. This was like a Predator movie, like Alien vs. Predators, and it was good. It wasn't great. This movie was also really slow, but the visuals were so pretty. It was such a pretty movie. I really liked a lot of the shots. It just made me weirdly nostalgic for, I don't know, like the Midwest, kind of north, maybe, like Northern America, and like the mountains and everything. It was just a really pretty one. And I really liked that, but honestly, the movie doesn't start until like halfway through, which is such a like drag, honestly. Also, one funny thing about this movie is the main character kind of sucks ass most of the movie, which I kind of appreciate, except where there's like one fight where she like absolutely turns out, and it's kind of like, girl, where the fuck has this been kind of moment. Because there's other moments where she uses, you know, her wit and stuff, but there's one moment, well, I guess there's a couple moments where she kind of fights pretty intensely, and those moments are really fun, but most of the action doesn't come till like halfway through, which normally I'd be fine with, but the first half just didn't really, it like introduced the characters a bit, but I don't know, but it was a good movie. I liked it. I'd give it like a solid 6.5 probably out of 10. Alright, next up, there were a bunch of Christmas movies I watched. I can't remember most of them. I watched like, you know, the classics, Grinch, Elf, a lot of ones that I like don't really care about at all, but there was one really good standout movie that I really enjoyed, surprisingly, and it was called I'll Be Home for Christmas. It is a late 90s movie, and it really feels like kind of like a Disney, like an old school Disney Channel movie. It might be, I'm not sure. It has the kid from Home Improvement, if you know who he was. He was like hot shit back in the day, but I don't think he's been in anything since. But this movie was, I was surprised at how good it was. It was cute. It was fun. It had really good tropes. The main character was actually great. And the dialogue was fantastic. Actually, the more I'm thinking about this movie, I think I gave it a 6 on Letterboxd. But I think it's at least a 7. It was surprisingly good. It had some moments that like really caught me off guard, that where I was like, damn, that's funny. So I don't know if it's because I had low expectations for this movie that it was so enjoyable, or maybe I was just in the Christmas spirit. Only God knows. But I liked it. I give it like a solid 7. Next up after that, this was much more, I was very much in my Halloween movie phase, and then like, even in November I'm still, I mean, I love horror, it's my favorite. I love horror movies. So the next one is called The Invintation. The Invintation. This movie was not good. This was a bad movie. This was a bad movie. This was a bad movie. It was a weird movie. It definitely very much felt like an indie movie. The concept itself was kind of interesting. Kind of funny at times, but yeah, I didn't really like it. Not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. I wouldn't recommend it. It reminded me a lot of, if you've ever seen like The Circle, or there's another kind of indie movie like that. Oh, what's that one called? Coherence. It's kind of like Coherence in The Circle, but I'd say between all of those movies, this one's the worst. Although I haven't seen those two in a really long time, but I think I like them. Anyways, moving on. Let's get to something juicy, baby. Come on, let's go. Next up, we got Frankenstein. This movie was cunt. Oh my god, this movie was cunt. I liked this movie a lot. It really helped that I was really skeptical about Jacob Elordi. I really was like, come on, Jacob Elordi, come on. I know he's fine shit, I know he's hot as fuck, but come on, this is Frankenstein. Frankenstein can't be hot, but damn, Guillermo, he fucking showed me up. He showed me left, right, out the door. Jacob Elordi was hot as hell. Jacob Elordi can make literally any fucked up creature hot. But yeah, special effects in here, amazing. The costume design. The costume design was so good. It's really interesting, a lot of these movies that I've watched recently, I feel like really are able to get a couple things really down, and Frankenstein really got down in aesthetic. It was pretty slow and grueling story. I do hear that it's one of the better tellings of Frankenstein as far as more close to the actual book itself, and it was good. Their narration, they did a good job. There's maybe a little too much narration at times, but they did a good job. Yeah, I'd give this movie a solid 8 out of 10. I think I'd be tempted to give it more, but once again, it's it was a very slow story. Not a lot really happens. Obviously there's plot and such, but the acting was phenomenal. And the set design, the costume design, all so perfect, honestly. Alright, next up, another movie that really gets one thing right, and that one thing, well, let me tell you first, it's Terrifier 1 and 2. I watched Terrifier 1 and 2, haven't seen the third one yet, but Terrifier 1 and 2, some of the most gruesome, violent, bloody, gory movies I've ever seen. There was specifically one scene in the first movie that I was yeah, there's literally one scene in the first Terrifier movie where I was I was doing all sorts of jaw could drop down that low because holy shit, I was not prepared. I was not a Boy Scout. Never have been, never could be, because that shit was... I was not prepared. It was so fucked up. It was so fucked up. On so many levels, this movie is not for the squeamish. It is just violence. But one thing I do really like about this movie, and I've also just been thinking about a lot with horror movies in general, is I really wish more of them would use either older cameras or just apply filters to give it more of a specific feel or ambiance, or just a bit more of an old feel. Sometimes when you see a new horror movie and it's like shot so nice and pristine, like it looks cool, but it really is missing. There's a lot of magic in those old horror movies, especially with like the grain and a lot of the other just kind of the overall vibe. And I really find myself missing that, but that's something that I will say the Terrifier movies do. Along with, what was the other movie? Malignant. Malignant also does that very well, I think. But yeah, Terrifier movies are not great. Not great. It's just killing people in crazy ways, so it's a fine movie. It is what it is. If you like gore, violence, fucked up shit, watch them. I think I liked the first one a bit more than the second one. The second one had more interesting concepts to it, I think, but it took a little while to build up to where it actually kind of started getting good. Next up on the list, we have The Cabin in the Woods. Dude, The Cabin in the Woods, they were cooking up crazy shit back then. When was this movie made? I gotta remember, I gotta look it up, because this definitely has a very specific, yeah, that makes sense, 2011. I was thinking late 2000s, but damn, they were on some next level shit during this time. They were making weird shit. This movie is wild. This movie's wild. It really leans into a lot of tropes. I wouldn't say it's really a comedy, but it does have some kind of funny aspects to it. Actually, no, it definitely is a comedy. It's 100% a comedy. But it's probably a bit more dark humor. I don't know what kind of humor you'd call it, but it is wild. It kind of makes fun of a lot of the classic kind of tropes of horror movies. And I think it takes a really interesting direction. It's a very one-of-a-kind type of movie. I can't relate this movie really to anything else. But it's a fun movie. It's camp. It has a lot of stuff I like. I don't think it's anything like groundbreaking or like life-changing, but I think it's a fun movie, which is why I give it a solid 7 out of 10. Also, these ratings take with a grain of salt because I'm constantly changing them even in my mind. Like, even, like, I'll Be Home for Christmas, I was thinking about that. I was like, you know what, that's actually better. Or even, like, Prey, I think I gave it, like, a 7 out of 10, but there's sometimes I'm like, maybe it's closer to 6. I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers out. Because that's what I do. Anyways, next up we have Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street. And this movie was great. This movie was interesting. It was scary. I see a lot of other movies kind of got a lot of influence from now. Yeah, it's a classic horror movie. It's been on my list for fucking ever. I can't believe it's taken me this long to see this goddamn movie. But I finally did. Finally watched it. It's funny, I'm just remembering I specifically watched it because I wanted to watch specifically the second or third one. I can't remember whichever one's really homoerotic is the one I really wanted to watch. And yeah, I don't have a lot to say other than it. And it's like, if you like horror movies, it's a must see. It's a must see. Like you have to. You're legally obligated to see this movie. If you don't, you're fucking losers. So get the hell out of here. Speaking of getting the hell out of here, the next movie up is Hell of a Summer. Hell of a Summer. This movie. Did I talk about this movie? Part of me feels like I talked about this movie already. I need to double check real quick. 1 second. Anyways, I'm shocked I haven't talked about this movie already because it's a really interesting movie. I don't think it got great reviews, and honestly, it is a movie that's just kind of it's missing a little bit of this, it's missing a little bit of that, you know. But there's a couple movies there's a couple moments that really stick in my head that are like really fucking funny. There's a couple really good scenes. There's a couple very quotable lines that kind of live in my head rent-free as well. And this movie's really interesting because it's definitely a bit more of an indie movie. Everybody on it's pretty young. And I believe it was directed by Finn Wolfhard, and I can't remember his name, but he plays another one of the characters within the movie. Like, it really seems like a bunch of friends just kind of got together and made a movie. And Billy Brake, yeah, it was directed by both of them, and honestly, it was great. It was a really cute movie. I think that's a weird way to word it, but it was really cute in the way that it was done. It was pretty lighthearted for being a horror movie. It was pretty funny. A lot of the humor wasn't like I'm dying kind of funny. I wasn't like, a lot of it was a bit more witty or clever, which I like all kinds of humor, so I definitely liked it a lot. But this was just a solid movie. It was great, especially for the first one. I like both of them quite a bit. I've seen Billy in, I think he was in Friendship, and he did great in that. And I'm sad this movie didn't do better because I really want to see them do something else. I really want to see them do something else because I get where they were going with this, and I think they were really close to getting something like perfect. Yeah, the humor, I'd say the closest movie I could relate this to would be like, it's like a less intense and cuter Bodies. I think that's probably the closest thing I could relate it to. Bodies was such a good movie though, so it's kind of hard to compare those two. But I liked also, there's like one scene in that movie I will never forget because it's honestly genius. I literally, after I finished the movie, I rewound it back to this specific scene because it was so goddamn good. I had to watch it again. It was delicious. It was fantastic. Anyways, man, maybe, I guess I just haven't made one of these in a long time because I got a hell of a lot of movies. But next Sinister. This is definitely a movie of its era. It's scary, it's good, I like it. Ethan Hawke's awesome. Very much feels like that kind of 2010s kind of horror. But it's good. It's solid. I'd also give that one like a 7 out of 10. I honestly don't have that much to say about it because it's just like, I don't know. It's a good plot. It's everything in it's just good. Like, it's a solid movie. Like, that's just plain and simple. This next movie, I really, really liked a lot. And it was Bring Her Back. And I think the only complaint I could have about this movie is this is a complaint I've kind of heard a lot about this movie in particular, but it's that I think it's just overall kind of a tiredness of quote-unquote trauma horror. Horror was like a lot of trauma or dealing with trauma. It kind of surrounds that. So, you know, movies like Midsummer, Hereditary are ones that immediately come to my mind, to where they're kind of like trauma porn in a way. Or even, I think these directors did another movie called Talk to Me, and that one was also trauma horror. And yeah, this, once again, is trauma horror. Definitely a different kind of trauma, but this one, I just really like this one. This one did it for me. This one was scary. Honestly, it wasn't that scary. It was much more interesting and creepy, and I don't know what it was about it, that there were just so many good scenes. I really liked like when I think back to other horror movies that I really liked that were like almost perfect, right? Like Long Legs and even Weapons. They both kind of have this mystical aspect to them. But I don't think either of them do a good job. Neither of them really do a good job. They get either too cheesy, too straightforward. But I think something about how everything's paced in Bring Her Back, the pacing in Bring Her Back is phenomenal. It's really good. They nailed it. And it's a movie that makes a lot of sense. And there's a lot of visceral scenes. There's a lot of fucked up shit in it that I just really, really liked. And I don't know what it is about this movie that really struck well for me. Maybe if I watched it a second time, I wouldn't like it as much. I could see that maybe being the case, but I gave it a 10 out of 10 after I watched it. I really like this movie a lot. The acting is phenomenal. All the kids do too good of a job, honestly, sometimes. Along with, like, the mom character does, such a good and creepy job, and also just the amount of, like, lying and gaslighting, like, it's like Death Note levels of, like, kind of trying to, like, outsmart each other and stuff. I don't know. Maybe that's, okay, maybe I'm glazing a little hard comparing it to Death Note, okay? It's not like that, but it is good. It's good. You should definitely check it out. And then, I think this is, last but not least, my mother fridgers, we have Grave Encounters. Honestly, it's funny when you have some distance from movies, because sometimes I feel like it normalizes, time makes me like normalize it out more. I go like, oh, maybe it wasn't that bad, or like, oh, maybe it wasn't that good, you know? Because I'm thinking about Grave Encounters and I'm like, damn, was a scary movie. Like, that was pretty scary. That was good. It definitely, I think what took it out for me was there were some scenes that are like, oh my god, I'm shaking, kind of scary, you know? And then there's some scenes that, like, they go so over the top, and the special effects are, like, so goofy and bad that it's like, okay, you, like, had it, and you lost me. You had me, and you lost me, because you went too hard. You went just a little too cheesy when you shouldn't have. But yeah, this is just a good, cheesy, scary movie. It was, like, very cheap. It feels like a movie I could make with my friends, you know? And there's something I really like about those type of movies. So yeah, I'd give this one a solid 6, at least a 6. I'm tempted to boost it up just a little, but maybe if I watch it again, I'll give it something higher. But for now, probably just a 6. Because yeah, I'm trying to remember specific stuff about the movie, but I can't really remember that much. I think the beginning and also kind of the very end are kind of the harder moments, but there's some parts in the middle that are like really good. And it's a fun, I will say I watched this movie in a group of people, and it made it so much better. It was so much more enjoyable watching this with a bunch of people. I would highly recommend watching it with a group of friends. Anyways, that's it, y'all. That's it. That's all I got. I'm really gonna be locking in this year. I really want to lock in on watching a shitload of movies. So just you wait. Just don't worry your pretty little freaking noses and your pretty motherfucking faces, because I have a lot of movies on my watch list that I am very excited to knock down one at a time. But anyways, I hope y'all have a nice night.